Hello everyone, I'm Matthijs, representing SynoSens, the team from Belgium, the country of beer, chocolate and waffles, but also home to Europe's most innovative university, KU Leuven. In the next 4 minutes, I will walk you through the different characteristics of our sensor, starting with its workflow, its microfluidics approach, its transducer system, and we finish with the Bioassay. We are very proud of the fact that our sensor does not need any sample or machine pre-treatment. You just have to put a drop of blood onto the chip, you press the button, you slide the whole chip into the cartridge, press measure, and the sensor will take around 200 seconds to determine the exact aluminum up concentration. The sensor is fast, accurate, but most importantly, super easy to work with. Now, let's take a look at it and what enables this ease of use. The SynoSensor uses the SIMPLE cartridge. SIMPLE stands for Self-Empowered Imbibing Microfluidic Pump by Liquid Encapsulation. It's quite a mouthful. So how it works, the fuel, which is just water, colored blue, will act as a fuel for the engine, and the engine is just paper. When you press the button in the middle, the fuel will touch the paper, and the capillary forces of the paper will draw the whole system forward. So this elegant design was developed in-house. It removes the need for any pipetting skills. It's very cheap in fabrication, and it does not depend on any outside electronics or controls. Furthermore, it delivers a very consistent flow rate, which is highly desirable for supreme biosensing. If you come to our booth, we can show one working. Now, after the blood has been brought to the probe, the sample is measured by SPR, or surface plasmon resonance. Our probe consists of an optical fiber that has been stripped and coated with gold at its end. When light is sent through the fiber, it will be internally refracted and eventually cause the creation of surface plasmons. The resonance of these surface plasmons with the incident light will cause a decrease in the intensity of the reflected light, which you can see here. And now the curious part is that this location of this dip in reflected light intensity is dependent on the exact surroundings of the optical fiber. So by tracking the location of the dip over time, we are able to follow the modifications to the fiber's outer surface fast and in real time. And because this effect is only depending on the immediate surroundings of the optical fiber, it's a perfect choice of transducer for turbid or complex matrices, such as plasma or blood. So last but not least is our bioassay. In order to sense a biomolecule, you need a molecular recognition agent, which in our case are monoclonal anti-adalimumab antibodies. These antibodies were developed by Pharmaps, the KU Leuven Antibody Center. They're exclusive to our device. They are not commercially available, and they are highly selective. We immobilize these antibodies on the SPR probe, and this probe will basically capture the adalimumab in solution. To strengthen the transduced signal, we also introduce a secondary antibody to the system that's conjugated to a gold nanoparticle. So the summary of our, yeah, that's a nice image. The summary of our device is by integrating these functionalized SPR probe into this really user-friendly microfluidic system, we developed a very easy instrument to work with. And then in combination with the highly selective KU Leuven antibodies, we deliver a fast and accurate solution for the adalimumab sensing problem. Yeah, we are actually really proud on this. We worked really hard on it and have also high expectations for its future. So we are SynoSens and wish everybody the best of luck for the further competition.
Questions?
Thank you very much. Interesting presentation.
Thank you.
It's, if I understand correctly, the first time I hear that a group claims that it's also applicable to whole blood. So that's good, I think. If I understand correctly, there are no washing steps involved, right?
Well, on the competition, we did not do it, but before we went to our own device, we have characterized our bioassay very thoroughly. And the washing step is, because let me start with the beginning. These fibers, to keep them stored, we use trehalose for the stability of the antibodies. And the assay is more sensitive when this trehalose is washed off. But we saw that this washing step, it needs a few minutes, and then we were taking too much time. So for the competition, we removed it. But actually, if you could go back to the microfluidic slides, you can see that our chips are designed in the way that they can take this washing step. Like the green fluid you will see there, this is a washing step. But, yeah.
But is that a washing step at what stage? Because normally what you do is first you capture your adalimumab, and then you wash off excess.
That's not necessary.
Okay, that means that your assay might be sensitive to a high dose hook effect, meaning that if you have a high excess.
That's you're really good in this. That's exactly as we saw, and it's really unfortunate because we also investigated this, and because of we have actually a high dose hook effect, so we cannot measure concentration like 10 micrograms per ml directly, not because of the plasma, but because of the high dose hook effect. The transduced signal goes down at this high concentrations, and of course we looked how far it goes up before it goes down, and we have to dilute 1 on 10. It's also what we do, but because we're quite confident in our antibodies, we tested this dilution also in plasma, and it works with only few. It's also in the TRD, with a bit loss of sensitivity, but it works.
Okay, so by pre-diluting, you are in the right range and you avoid the high dose hook effect, at least to the level of, let's say, 10 milligrams per liter.
Because the concentration that the probe measures are 10 times lower than what.
Okay.
Just on the same topic, so you apply blood droplet, but you're still say, okay, the sample also needs to be diluted.
Yeah, that's something.
You're still working on that.
Yeah, that's also one of the very great points about this simple chip, that it's not in the slide. It's really tunable, and like the possibilities are great. So we actually made chips that can do dilution on chip, but we didn't have them for the competition. So for the competition, we just diluted outside and acted as this would have been the drop.
Okay, so for the next step, that's one part which needs to be integrated.
Yeah, we can, but
What about expected shelf life from the cartridge when you also store the chemicals inside?
Yeah, we've not really tested long. What we've tested now, so we made the calibration curve on shelf life of 4 days, because that was what we need, because we left Monday, so we made everything Monday, and that works fine. Like also the fibers, because they are the major concern. But with this trehalose treatment, they should be stable for 2 weeks when they stored in the fridge. The chip itself is quite stable. It's just paper, PVC, and PSA. Yeah.
Okay.
Those we store at room temperature. So. Yeah, of course.
Thank you for a very nice presentation. So the simple chip has been presented before here, you know that. So can you tell us, and it's beautiful and elegant and all that, what is your input for, what's the novelty from your team? Yeah, so of course we went for 2 techniques where we believe that we could make them work, but the tricky part was the integration. So these fibers you can use on like benchtop devices, and you get really nice results and stuff. But you need to go to the chip. Also, you need to reduce. Yeah, we reduced the assay time from 45 minutes to about 5. Also, this assay was performed in a 2-step, from which the second step took 45 minutes. So we had to make a 1-step assay that works. It was not that evident. Oh, so you reduced the time. That's great. Perfect.
But I have not.
I have more questions.
more.
So novelty is about improving and reducing the assay.
And also combining it, because the combination is not that.
Okay. What about the system itself? Did you custom make the system? Or did
we actually, with one of our sponsors, we co-developed connector pieces that allow us to, like, because this did not exist, to put on the fiber on top of there, and it allows us to like really slide the chip onto the spectrometer sensor, which is
Okay.
pretty important for the ease of use.
So you optimize the way you are handling or your input of the chip to the existing system.
Yeah,
Okay.
it
Great.
yeah.
Thank you.
That's a great piece of work. Mine is more a curiosity than a real question. If instead of using anti-adalimumab antibodies, you had functionalized your probe with TNF-alpha.
Me personally,
Somebody.
well, no, I wouldn't advise it. I know there are teams that are doing it, but TNF alpha is like a very common protein of molecule, but so it can be sensed by multiple other proteins. So yeah,
No, I'm sorry. I'm not following the response.
you mean like using TNF alpha as capturing molecule, right? Yeah, we had access to like these really remarkable antibodies, so I would not see a reason why not to go with them.
What makes them more remarkable than the?
Well, they have been
alpha?
tested against cross-reactivity, and it's just as good as non-existing. It's something the other teams did not have, so it was an obvious choice to go for it.
Hi, I just have a technical question. So you said you modified the way you connect the fiber optic. Can you maybe just comment a little bit more about this? How you connect the chip to the device?
Yeah, that's something that maybe should have been on the slide. I can show it at our booth. So we have connector pieces that fit quite tightly, though can be easily applied to the sensor end of the fiber. So we just put them on. And so they have basically a small side for the fiber and a big side to connect to the sensor.
So the patient, if it would run the assay themselves, they would have to insert the fiber into a connector?
No. The connector is just on the fiber. It's just the chip is finished.
Mm-hmm.
You put a drop of blood on there, you push it, and you slide. And they don't have to do any fabrication work on the chip.
Okay. Thank you. I'll come and see it later on. I'm curious.
Well,
about it.
I'm going to be honest. These connectors, we didn't have a lot. So we put them manually on because it's not a lot of work. But of course, if you make a finalized product, you can make sure that they are already there and the doctor doesn't have to like small things.